Ever since From first premiered, fans have been trying to solve the mystery of the town. Every season has introduced new clues, strange visions, terrifying creatures, and even more questions. Naturally, that has led to countless fan theories. Some have turned out to be surprisingly accurate, while others have completely fallen apart as the story progressed. One theory, however, has followed the series from the very beginning. It's the idea that none of this is real. According to this theory, the town is simply a dream, a hallucination, or some kind of false reality existing only inside the characters' minds. For years, both fans and the show's creators have pushed back against this idea. It has often been criticized because it would make everything we've seen feel meaningless. After all, if the answer is simply it was all a dream, then years of mysteries, character development, and emotional moments would lose much of their impact. But in Season 4, Episode 8, From does something incredibly clever. Instead of making the dream theory true, the show turns it into a weapon. And the target is Henry Kavanaugh. Over the last several episodes, Henry has been struggling emotionally more than almost anyone else in town. He finally reunited with Victor after decades of separation, only to learn horrifying truths about what happened to his wife, Miranda. The emotional weight of those revelations has clearly taken a toll on him. Now, things are getting even worse. In episode 8, Henry's strange visions continue to grow stronger. He keeps finding himself inside what appears to be a hospital room. Unlike normal dreams, these experiences feel increasingly realistic. The conversations are longer, the details are sharper, and most importantly, the people inside these visions seem determined to convince him that the town isn't real. The version of Victor appearing in these scenes tells Henry a story that sounds far more believable than the impossible reality he's currently living in. According to this version of events, Henry supposedly suffered a terrible psychological breakdown years ago. Everything involving the town, the monsters, and the supernatural horrors is simply part of an ongoing delusion. For someone in Henry's position, that's an incredibly tempting explanation. Think about it. Which sounds easier to believe? That you're trapped in a mysterious town where monsters emerge every night, people become possessed by supernatural forces, and impossible events happen on a regular basis? Or that you're a patient in a hospital suffering from a mental disorder? Most people would choose the second explanation because it feels logical and familiar. That's exactly why this manipulation is so dangerous. The audience can clearly see that something is wrong with these visions. There are clues everywhere. The atmosphere feels unnatural. Certain details don't quite fit together. And perhaps most importantly, the heavy presence of yellow throughout the hospital scenes points directly toward the influence of the man in yellow. This is especially significant because Henry's visions began shortly after his interaction with the mysterious villain. The implication seems clear. Someone is actively trying to reshape Henry's perception of reality. The goal isn't simply to scare him. The goal is to make him doubt everything. And that's where the episode becomes truly terrifying. The hospital staff within the visions don't just tell Henry that he's hallucinating. They also present him with a supposed solution. According to them, if Henry wants to return to reality, he must disconnect himself from the delusion. But there's a catch. They claim he must remove the thing anchoring him to this false world. And that's where alarm bells should immediately start ringing. Because if Henry accepts this version of reality, there's one obvious person who could be considered his anchor: Victor. His son is the emotional connection holding him to the town. Victor is the reason Henry continues fighting. Victor is the reason he hasn't completely given up. If Henry becomes convinced that the town is a hallucination, then he may eventually believe that eliminating Victor is the only way to escape. And if that sounds familiar, that's because Ephraim has already explored this exact kind of tragedy before. Longtime viewers will remember Abby Stevens. Abby became convinced that everyone was trapped inside a dream. She believed the only way to wake up was through death. That belief pushed her into a horrifying downward spiral. She began killing innocent residents because she thought she was helping them escape. Eventually, she even turned against her own family. The situation became so dangerous that Boyd had no choice but to stop her himself. Now the show appears to be creating a disturbing parallel between Abby and Henry. Both characters experienced overwhelming psychological stress. Both began questioning the nature of reality, and both were offered an explanation that promised freedom from their suffering. The difference is that Henry's beliefs may not be forming naturally. They may be deliberately planted by an outside force. That makes the threat even more terrifying. If the man in yellow is truly manipulating Henry's mind, then he's not just attacking one person. He's attempting to weaponize grief, trauma, and desperation against the entire community. And unfortunately, it seems to be working. With every vision, Henry appears less certain about what's real. The more he questions himself, the easier it becomes for the false reality to take hold. That creates an incredibly dangerous situation moving forward. If Henry fully embraces the hospital reality, Victor could become the target. And if that happens, the residents may be forced into an impossible decision. They might have to stop Henry before he hurts someone. The tragedy is that Henry and Victor only recently found each other again after decades apart. Fans waited years to see this reunion happen. Watching that relationship collapse into violence would be one of the most heartbreaking storylines the show has ever attempted. Whether Henry can resist the manipulation remains to be seen. But one thing is becoming increasingly clear. From isn't confirming the dream theory. It's doing something far more interesting. It's turning one of the show's oldest theories into a psychological trap. And Henry may be walking straight into it.
Stay with me. Henry.